What's up? I'm Vin, and today I want to talk about the most life changing math class that I took in college. So, this was 13 years ago in fall 2009, and the name of the class was Intro to Higher Math. For one, I met my wife in that class, and today we have two sweet boys together. And also, the professor that taught that class was my favorite professor that I studied under in my time in college. And what made this professor really special was his style of teaching. I remember going to this professor at office hours, and kids would show up and say, I want you to give me the answer to question 3. And the professor just never caved in. He was not about spoon feeding us math. His philosophy was he would just tell you which theorem that you needed. So if you were stuck on question 3, he wouldn't write it out for you, but he would tell you you should look at this theorem and you should look at this theorem. And if you combine those two, you'll probably find your answer. This professor was super, super brilliant. He got his PhD from MIT, but he was incredibly down to earth for someone that smart. And the guy was just very, very quirky. I just remember him having a ton of energy, and every day in class, or it seemed like every day, this guy would drink a bottle of Dr. Pepper. But what really made this professor special, once again, was his philosophy on teaching and studying math. And the most life changing math experience in that class was a specific project that this professor assigned us. So this was a few weeks before final exams. So we were all getting ready to study, not just for his class, but we were getting ready to study for our other math class and the other two classes that we were taking. And this professor gave us a project, and the content in the project was something that the professor had not taught us. So his expectation was that we were going to self-teach ourselves a section out of our textbook, and we were going to complete a set of questions on what we self-taught ourselves. Now, one of the interesting details about this project was the professor said, I want you to emphasize quality over quantity. I don't expect you to get every question correct. I just expect you to turn in a lot of great math. The questions that you do get right, I want to see quality solutions. Now, all the type A personalities in the room were freaking out because they're like, wait a minute, how much do I have to do correct to get an A? And the professor wasn't 100% clear on it. So, they were expecting like a certain number to have to complete, but the professor just wanted to see what type of work we would turn in. Now, initially, this was supposed to be a solo project, but then the professor told us we could work together in small groups. And I remember being with a group of friends at the library, and we were working on one question for just hours on end, and it seemed like we were getting nowhere. And this was incredibly frustrating. I remember thinking, like, how are we going to figure this out if no one taught us this? But then little by little, the problems started to crack. We didn't get every question correct, but we were able to get through a bunch of examples. And every time that we conquered one, it felt like climbing Mount Everest. Now, what I learned from this project, or what I got out of this project, was confidence that if you spend enough time trying to figure something out, you can get it. It takes a certain mindset to just sit with something and to work on it continuously until it eventually clicks. A lot of people, when they study math, if it doesn't work, if they can't figure it out after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they'll give up. But the key is that you have to be willing to stretch out how much time you're going to spend on something. Because if you could start to expand out how much time you're willing to spend on a single topic, that new work ethic and that new approach to learning is just going to be a total game changer, not just for math, but your other subjects as well. So if you're watching this and you're a person that struggles with math, or your confidence in math is not quite there, just know you have to sit with this stuff, and the stuff that you are trying to learn, emphasize quality over quantity. The things that you are going to set out to learn that day, just try to learn them as best you can. And little by little, if you learn math little by little and you're consistent each day, it will pay off and you can be good at math.